feel like they have this plan from the jump. They make us feel like our vote matters in this capacity. Our vote does matter, but not at this level, is what I'm saying. Because sometimes they will go against the popular vote. That's why I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see how this plays out, because we're just seeing two grown-ass kids, you know, battling it out.
The purpose of this conversation is indeed that, a conversation. You know, this is not trying to convince anybody of anything. We want to let this conversation flow, let it flow properly, and let them say their views and get their views out. And if that maybe can help you with your decision for this upcoming election, that's great. But this is all in love. But guys, I want to start again from left to right. Joy and everyone proceeding, describe your current political beliefs. If you want to do a small intro of yourself, but describe your current political beliefs. Either provide the party or a brief statement detailing your political stance.
Deep. No. So my name is Joy, and I don't know how much intro we're doing, but I'm located in the Minneapolis area. So I'm a Midwest girl, and beliefs. I really focus on. I'm a Christian, and I focus political beliefs on what those ideals and principles are for me. And so as long as they align with those goals, the foundation I have and I live my life by, that's where I align. I know that nobody's perfect. No system is perfect. No ideology is perfect. But which ones are there that align with community, leaning on one another, and taking care of one another? And that's really it. Glad to be here.
Yes. All right, Sharitha.
Hey, my name is Sharitha DeShields, and I'm not like a podcast or anything. I'm just, you know, a woman. I'm a business owner. I have a consulting company, and I also am the mother of an autistic son on the spectrum. So that comes with its challenges. And I'm embarking on a journey now to help mothers who are in that same boat as me find their way through. And as far as like political, I don't really have a specific party affiliation. I like to think of myself as an observer watching an elaborate chess game play out. I've been operating in this way since Obama's reelection in 2012. So I don't really claim either party. Honestly, I feel personally they're just two sides of the same coin. And when you look at this objectively from a bird's eye view, you'll see, you know, how that comes into play. And believe me, there's enough evidence out there to support that the entire world has been duped into bipartisanship. We think America and other colonized countries and provinces are true democracies, but yeah, we'll get into that, I guess.
Well, thank you. Amanda.
Amanda Williams. I am a personal trainer. I am also a retail manager, and I'll claim author, even though my book is not completed and not out yet, but it's coming. I am a mom of 4. I have 4 children. I have a son in college. I have a daughter in high school. I have a daughter in middle school, and I have a daughter in elementary school. So yeah, I'm all around. And like Joyce said, I'm a Christian. So I base a lot of my decisions off of things that align with that. But I'm also a Black woman. And so anything that supports us, uplifts us, puts us in a better position, I'm all for it. So not loyal to any party. Just like she said, chess game. I'm just kind of watching the plays as they play out, and I'll make my decision then.
Awesome. And Tamara.
Well, hello. My name, of course, is Tamara, and I am a wife and a mom of 4. I have 3 of, that I pushed out myself, and I have a bonus baby as well. I also work from home. I'm a cybersecurity analyst from home, and I'm a gym girly. I'm not a personal trainer, but I be in the gym, okay?
Get it, girl.
So I'm gonna be honest. So I did just recently become a TikToker within the past year and a half, and I kind of touch on relationships, family, type topics. Also, you know, to kind of teach women how to move better, make better decisions for better outcomes, you know, in your life, you know, type situation. So, you know, politics is not really my thing. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because just like Sharitha stated, I just think both sides are on some BS at times. I just think we're just watching a whole bunch of puppets and we are just sitting back watching a show. I do agree with Joy that, you know, you're the goal is to find a party that you're more aligned with, but I'm really having a hard time finding an alignment on either side. I'm more now, I can't, I'll put it like this. I don't like to use the term Christian because there's just certain things with Christianity and, you know, I don't agree with, but I do have very traditional values. And I definitely am a believer of God. I just don't get into the tradition things, but I think I'm a little bit of liberal slash conservative. I'm like a balance because I do have very traditional values, but I also don't, I want people to be set up for success. And right now, I'm just having a hard time seeing where both sides are willing to or have a plan to do that. So I don't know what you want to call me, but I'm an anomaly. I'm somewhere in the gray area.
Well, thank you, ladies, for that intro. And I will say that's the purpose of this. I didn't want to find, you know, ex politician here or someone that I know that's super versed in this or that does this for a living. I want to find everyday ladies that can have this conversation with President Biden now being out as president or being out as a candidate for the next presidency. Is early, y'all. I'm trying to get my words together. Vice President Harris is now in the running, and I believe there's a push towards Black women. So let's talk about that. What changes does her running, does that present for you? Let's start with Sharitha.
For me, none. Absolutely nothing. I don't know. You know, like I said, I'm a newcomer to your house and your channel and everything, and I am I'm that person that will just give it straight up how I see it. So for me, no, there's no change. The establishment is playing out their moves exactly the way they intended. And, you know, based on how things I've been told, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, no, I'm a conspiracy factualist. I don't want to theorize. I want to get down to the meat. But based on how things lined up so quickly after Biden was ousted, I personally believe they set Biden up to oust him. The only reason I think it took so long was because Kamala, like they weren't sure about her candidacy due to her high unpopularity amongst many, even her own staff. So, and even tons of Black people have put her on notice, you know, and told her to go sit in the corner and face the corner. And so this is the reality of what we're seeing playing out. People are just unhappy with how their lives and how things have played out for them over the years. We still look and we're not too much further along. And that definitely reflects on politics and what's going on. So that's my position on that.
Yeah. Let's go to Amanda.
Not much change for me either because I hadn't like made a decision either way. But like she said, when the announcement was made, I was more like it was planned. You know, I kind of felt like it was something that they knew was going to happen, you know, and that they were trying to dupe us, you know. So now I'm more into listening to try to, you know, get all the underlying, you know, the things that are not being put on, just that they're not saying. You know, my dad always says you can learn a lot by what people don't say. So I'm listening for all of the underlying. For me as a Black woman, there's been a lot of people in my community, people that I come in contact with that are like, we're just voting for her because she's a Black woman. It's a little deeper than that for me. You know, I've been called out because I was like, you know, I'm not going to support her just because she's a Black woman. Not saying that I don't support Black women, but I need to support who supports Black women. and everybody else. And that may not be a Black woman. That may be somebody else. So I'm just trying to make an informed decision, at this point in my life as to who I vote for, because, 10 years ago, it wasn't as important to me as it is now. But I have a grown son. So these things affect him too. So, and then whoever we elect, we're stuck for the next 4 years. You know what I mean? And then we're stuck with their decisions and the decisions that they make for years after that. So, not much change for me other than I am looking a lot deeper than than surface level at this point.
Nice. Tamara.
Her, now becoming or being part of the presidential campaign really didn't change much for me outside of been thinking all these years there's been some shady stuff going on about how our presidents are being picked. Now I'm with Amanda. I'm not just going to support a Black woman because, she is an opportunity, to run for presidency. But again, I need you to make sense in that role, not because you're
Right.
a Black woman.
Right.
And we can't just, I don't want her to get it because she's a Black woman either. And I think most of us would not want to have an opportunity like that and to get it because we're a Black woman, we're Black women. We want to get it because of our education, our experience, our accolades. We don't want to do it just for that purpose.
Right.
I feel like, the way they sprung it on us, it feels like an arranged marriage.
Yep.
Yep. It's just like, how did we get this close, to having a vote, and now all of a sudden,
right,
I have to pay even more attention to this new candidate that is now up, for this seat. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think we have enough time, really. It feels very, very, very forced. And like Amanda said, you got a lot of people or like Black folks that you're voting for her because she's, a Black woman. And I just don't think that's a reason why you vote for somebody. And then honestly, it doesn't really change anything because our votes, the Electoral College trumps our vote regardless. So I feel like they have this plan from the jump. They make us feel like our vote matters in this capacity. Our vote does matter, but not at this level is what I'm saying. Because sometimes they will go against the popular vote. And that's why I'm just like, I'm just going to sit back and watch and see how this plays out because we're just seeing two grown-ass kids, battling it out.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. So that's my stance.
All right, enjoy.
So I had to unmute. So it's interesting listening to everybody's perspectives. I did actually study political science in college, and I think part of what's missing with all of this is in the discourse is that people forget there's no one person that runs a country. And to your point, Tamara, yes, we're not the banana republics and the countries that have the cabal behind the scenes, but to an extent, yes, they're the powers that be. And I think people forget this. Does it mean that your vote doesn't matter? No, because we have a democracy, right? But people forget that there are elements of different political ideologies in every system. There's no pure, true democracy, pure, true socialist or whatever system. We take what works, we fine tune it, and we put in a system in different aspects of our society. So that's the one point. So the other thing I do take offense to was saying just because she's a Black woman. And the reason I say that is we see this in society. We see this in the workplace. When I work in, so I didn't introduce myself as an attorney partly because I'm so used to not saying that, right? It's not because I'm not proud of it, but there is a connotation that people put on it immediately. Oh, why are you so surprised? Right? Or my title or my role. Why is that so surprising? Because I'm a Black woman. Right? What did you do to get there? I'm sorry. Did you ask Jenny what she did to get there? And so for me, when our society or Black women and Black men say that, it's so insulting when I see how much she has fought and what she has done to get to where she's gone. I mean, they've been saying she's been sleeping around that house because it just couldn't be that she's that smart.
Yeah.
And I try to remind people, don't join in that chorus. She is smart. She is the most qualified vice president we've ever had. Okay, can we say that part instead of she's a Black woman, right? And so for me, it's so demeaning and insulting. She is most qualified. She is the second in line to take over if anything happened to the president. So she is very qualified to. Let's focus on that. Is she qualified to do the job? Just like we talk about every role, right, in our companies or daily lives. Let's look into that. So let's not demean that. But also, I say, if we're not looking to the person, yes, the top ticket matters. That's a good thing. But again, to your point, Tamara, like it's not the one person, right? That matters. We want that person, but let's look at all the other people associated with them. And so have we had a glimpse, unlike the Obama era where we had never had an Obama come up. And so the true joy was like, oh my gosh, we've heard him speak. We heard the way he handled himself. We've seen the family, and that pushed us through that, right? For these two, can we really say we don't know what they bring to the table? And I think that's my quest, or when I talk to people, I say, she's been in this administration with Biden. You do know what their platform is. We've had a former president, for 4 years. So we both have 4 years of both sides. We know what they stand for. What I call out to people is, let's go look at those policies again. Let's review them. Let's compare and contrast, because unlike Obama, like I said, we didn't have a prior presidency, we do have for these two people. She has stayed on the ticket. She has stayed on the platform. She's not deviating from that. So we know what the Biden administration stands for. Same way with Trump administration. Now let's look into the people that worked with him and the people that continue to work with him. And what do they stand on and what do they support? Because these are the people that will run the administration, right? The president is just the executive. Those in the legislature matter. Those in the judicial matter. That's what we have to look at. And when we compare and contrast them, and for me, that's where my ideals, my principles, and my baseline of being a Christian comes into play. It's not just one thing. It's not just second. And we do have to compromise in every facet of life, right? And so which part of it, as a Black woman, which part of it aligns when I'm thinking about my son? I have a 12-year-old. Aligns when I'm thinking about my sisters. I'm thinking about my brothers who are Black men roaming around in America, right? Let's look at those things. The things you're saying is just this. Look at their records and go and piece it together. And thankfully, we have so many resources. And I say, and Mel, I was just chatting to you about this. I said, we have resources online, and people get caught up in the chatter. And I'm saying, think about what matters to you. Go research that online, find independent sources that will lay a contrast and comparison, and then see where you go from there. So I get passionate about it, but because I just feel like we know their records, we know the people that they align with. Do they match up with our ideals? And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in what they say, not say, and it's like, this is all show. This is all theatrics, right? And that does not go to what happens in your pocket, in your families, in your security, financial security. Those are the things that matter. And I feel like most people, Black women, Black community, do not get into the nitty-gritty of this. And this is what matters to us, right? And that for me is the biggest part, is that maybe at the end of the day, we do have to get back at some point to reforming the system, Tamara, because yes, the electoral college, since my college days, we've been talking about it. And I don't think it's changing, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately. That's the sucky part. And that's why I was like, yeah, like our votes matter, but I just think we've been focusing our votes in the wrong arenas, I guess is my point. And, we try to make this voting a big thing, but we should be having this campaign, in all states, because that's, it should be that's where the power lies. Right. Not just every time we have a presidential election. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where it gets kind of misconstrued, that we have more power in this particular platform than we really actually do. Really, like you were saying, at the underlying, the back end is where we really need to be doing our due diligence. I do agree with that.
Right. Yeah. In the counties, the state levels, that's where it lies. You got to empower people there. These are just the top, yes. But just like you put the whipped cream on top, that's not the main cake. Correct. That's not it. So it matters, yes, but that's not the main thing. So I shall stop now, Mel. Go ahead.
Well, I love you, Joy. And you responded to their comment, but you didn't really answer the question. I love you too. What changes does her now being the leading candidate? What does that change for you?
Oh, did you ask me?
Right. You answered. You didn't answer the question.
Wait. What changes for me? And
right, with her now being the candidate.
Oh, No, that's my point. It doesn't change anything, because it's not really about the person who sits on that throne, so to speak. It's about the party. It's about those in her party who are going to be in Congress, appropriating funds, shutting off the tap to school lunches, saying who gets to have, $35 insulin shots or not. Right. That's what matters to me. So whether she's there, whether, George is, I don't care who's at the top. The only part that I care about, honestly, and maybe you all have heard this, is it feels so good to have decorum. For me, it feels so good what she brings for me, and what VP Walz is my Minnesota governor. And it's so wonderful to see people people that could talk without demeaning people that could just talk and be normal. And for me, it's been so long. It's been so long. Can we just have, like we're doing, discussions as adults, and we don't have to barrage and hate and talk about physical characteristics, how I laugh, how I don't laugh? What is your business? Like things like that. I mean, how do I sit down with my little boy and he's listening to this and he talks more respectfully than the adults who are supposed to run the nation? And so for me, that's the biggest contrast for me, is watching her speak, watching Wall speak. And yes, do they get their little things in? Yes. But might I say a little respectfully? You're right. You can play politics, but I miss the old days, so to speak, where when the adults come together, they know that the world is watching. And I feel over the last few years, they forgot that the world was watching. And the way they talked and the way they, like, when the kids are questioning and saying, is that okay that they're saying that? Doesn't that sound like the bully at school? Ooh, that's hard. That's hard to see. So that's the biggest difference, is just to see calm, to see that we can get to business, but we don't have to demean. We don't have to insult. Let's get to business. If it's unclear, okay, you say you've released your plan on your website. Let me go look. That's what matters to me. So it doesn't matter who really is at the top of the ticket. I'm looking at the senators. I'm looking at the House of Reps. I'm looking at the governors. I'm looking at the county workers. I'm looking at those who are supposed to count the votes on election day. I'm looking at those people, the Secretary of States for the different states. Those are the places that I'm looking at and paying attention, because recently, I don't know if it was Georgia, where there was a website released that looked almost identical as the site where you get all your voting information. And I saw somebody say, and I've not verified 100, but somebody say that they put a box there where if you wanted to unregister yourself, you could put your Social Security, and that's it. You unregister. Now they say they may verify with the county officials. I'm like, what do you mean may verify? So anybody who had my information can just unregister me, and I walk up there to vote, and I'm like, no, you said you weren't voting anymore. See, things like that are what matter to me, not who is smiling and talking and everything. So to your question, Mel, I like the peace. I like the joy. I like the respectfulness that came back to me on the platform, on the political platform, when I look at the contract, both sides, right? But policy-wise, what impacts me and my family and my community, nothing changed.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that. Now, does anyone have a response to anyone's statement? Because I do want to make it clear. Would like for everyone to get their initial response out to the question, but feel free to rebut at any point. So, any responses?
Yeah, I have a response to that. As far as, and I know, Joel, you had mentioned something about, like looking at the records. And I think for the first time in a long time, that's exactly what Black folks are doing. They're pulling out the record and they're calling all of them to the carpet. And so that's what I am happy to see right now, even though we know this whole political scheme is what it is, and we have to make the most of it, because one way or the other, we're in the middle of it. But yeah, the records are, very important. And I think when you see like candidates come out, and especially in Kamala's case, there's been a lot that has surfaced, and they're not lies. Now, I admit to you, I agree with you on the immature behaviors that have resulted from this. yeah, the silliness, people have gone overboard with it, but I think we do need to pay attention and observe. And that is really what I've been doing. Because when you have people who flip flop around and they saying one thing here and then the next, pandering, it creates distrust. It creates distrust in the people. And this is why we are where we are. We are dealing with a different generation too. So we have Gen Zers. We have a lot of folks that, yeah, their maturity level is not going to be the same as our more seasoned women.
Exactly.
So I think this is just what comes along, you know, with that. And again, it saddens me as well, but this is where we are. But people are definitely paying attention to those records, and that's a relief for me. It's been an eye opener for myself personally.
Let's go.